Committee on Foreign Relations is now called to order. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of my good colleagues in the Senate, led by Senator Robin Padilla and Senator Erwin Tulfo. We continue to be seatmates in this committee as we are in the plenary. At this point, being the first meeting of the Committee on Foreign Relations in the 20th Congress, allow me to make a few preliminaries regarding our membership, our rules, and our jurisdiction. For the record, I'd like to manifest the composition of the committee under the rules of the Senate. Rule 10, Section 13, subparagraph 18. There are 17 members. It's one of the larger committees of the Senate, and the vice chairpersons are present. Senator Erwin Tulfo, as well as Senator Loren Legarda for the minority. There are also deputy majority leaders, J.B. Ejercito and Dante Marcoleta, and the members are Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, Pia Cayetano, Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Win Gatchalian, Bongo Lito Lapid, and Camille and Mark Villar. Deputy minority leaders are Mig Subiri, Risa Ontiveros. Additional minority members, Panfilo Lacson, and the ex-officio members, by virtue of their position as SP Pro Tempore, Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada, Majority Leader Joel Villanueva, Minority Leader Tito Soto. The general jurisdiction of this committee, as provided under subparagraph number 18 of the same rule earlier mentioned, the jurisdiction of the committee is all matters relating to the relations of the Philippines with other nations generally, diplomatic and consular services, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the United Nations Organization and its agencies, multilateral organizations, all international agreements, obligations, and contracts, and overseas Filipinos. The chair would like to manifest the applicability of the rules of the Senate in all the proceedings of the committee, as well as the rules of procedure governing inquiries in aid of legislation as amended. In instances where the committee exercises its inherent oversight functions and conducts investigations on programs, activities, policy implementation, and other matters within its jurisdiction, as we are doing today, following in our agenda the inquiry in the One China policy. I would like to invite at this juncture both the Vice Chairman of the committee, Erwin Tulfo, as well as Senator Padilla to make their opening statements if they had any.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Today's committee hearing, Committee on Foreign Relations hearing focused on two significant matters, according to the documents that I have in front of me. First, the agreement between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the Board of Fund for responding to loss and damage to its privileges and immunities. The instrument of ratification signed by President Marcos last July 4, 2025, mentioned that the Loss and Damage Fund was established to provide financial assistance to developing countries in responding to economic and non-economic loss and damage associated with adverse effects of climate change. This fund will be of great help to our kababayans in addressing losses and damages caused by natural disasters worsened by climate change. In last week's Committee on Health hearing, we discussed the alarming rise in leptospirosis cases, a disease that often spreads after floods and calamities. This is a big step forward, and I fully support this agreement because it shows genuine commitment to climate action and the safety of our kababayans. Second, Senate Resolution number 79, directing the Committee on Foreign Relations to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the status of the country's One China policy and the risks and obligations that such policy may entail. Madam Chair, colleagues, and our guests, ito po ang aking posisyon dyan. While the Philippines upholds its One China policy, this must never be interpreted as a license for any state to bully us in the West Philippine Sea. Let me say this loud and clear. The Philippines is not a province of any foreign power. Not today, not ever. The time for polite protest is over. We must decide if we need to activate and operationalize the enhanced defense cooperation agreement sites now. These bases must not sit idle while our seas are being invaded and our people are threatened. EDCA is not just a legal framework, it is a lifeline for deterrence and defense. Madam Chair, Palawan is close to my heart. Our fishermen from Palawan and nearby provinces face daily harassment. Ang mga kabuhayan po nila apektado sa lumalalim na gulo po dyan sa West Philippine Sea. Narito din po ako ngayon, hindi lang para makinig, pero higit sa lahat ay siguruhing protektado po ang ating OFW na nasa Taiwan at saan mang panig ng mundo. Seguridad at kabuhayan po ng ating mga OFW sa nakataya dito. Their safety and livelihood are deeply connected to our foreign policy and international agreement. To our friends in the international community, we welcome cooperation. We seek peace, but make no mistake, we will never trade our dignity for diplomacy. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair, at magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Well said. Thank you very much, Vice Chairman Tulfo. We recognize as well the arrival of Senator Legarda. If either Senator Legarda or Senator Padilla would like to make opening statements, please proceed. Senator Legarda, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I welcome the brilliant women and men of the Department of Foreign Affairs, especially our Secretary, Teresa Lazaro. Oh, you're a classmate. I didn't know. So I can compute the age. So at the outset, allow me to extend my gratitude to our Chair, Senator Amy Marcos, for designating me among some of the Vice Chair of the Committee on Foreign Relations. It is always a privilege to serve in this committee, which I had the honor of chairing in the 15th and 17th Congress. I look forward to supporting the chair and working with all of our colleagues in strengthening the role of the Senate in our country's foreign relations. And today, I believe it's part of our agenda. We will discuss the agreement between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the board of the fund for responding to loss and damage on the privileges and immunities of the board of the fund. I'm pleased to note, just to put on record, that I'm the principal author of Republic Act 12019, or the Loss and Damage Fund Board Act, which was ably sponsored by the chair. So I look forward to today's discussions and the collective wisdom of this committee in ensuring that our efforts in our foreign relations are felt in the safety of our communities and security of our livelihoods, and of course, the resilience of our nation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Legarda. Would Senator Revilla like to add anything?
Maraming salamat po. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Gusto ko lamang pong batiin lahat ang ating mga panauhin. Ako po ay makikinig sa usapin na ito sapagkat lahat po ng ating mga kababayan sa ngayon ay gulong-gulo na. Sa dami po ng mga nagsasalita, sa dami ng mga magagaling, sa dami ng mga paninira. Dapat pong maliwanagan kung ano talaga ang posisyon ng ating departamento. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat. And with that, we require our Secretary, Director Candao, to please acknowledge and recognize all our resource persons. We have the full panoply of the department here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson and our honorable members of the committee and our honored guests. Our resource persons for this afternoon are the following: the Honorable Secretary Maria Teresa P. Lazaro of the Department of Foreign Affairs. Good afternoon, Madam. And we also have from the Department of Foreign Affairs, Undersecretary Maria Helen B. de la Vega of the Bilateral Relations and ASEAN Affairs. And we also have Undersecretary Maria Teresa B. Dizon de Vega for Administration, Undersecretary Leo M. Herrera Lim for Migration Affairs, Undersecretary for Multilateral Affairs and International Economic Relations, Secretary Charles Jose. Good afternoon. We also have Assistant Secretary Maria Teresa T. Almojuela of the Office of the United Nations and other international organizations, or the UNIO. We have Assistant Secretary Marcial Luis Alferez from the Maritime and Ocean Affairs Office. We have Assistant Secretary Evangeline T. Ong Jimenez Ducruc, Office of Asian and Pacific Affairs. Assistant Secretary Christopher B. Montero from the Human Resources and Management Office. Assistant Secretary Zaldi B. Patron, the DLLU of the department, and we also have from the as officer in charge of the Treaties and Legal Affairs Office, Attorney Paulo Saret. And we have a long list of guests from the DFA. We will just insert them into the records, Madam. And from representing the Department of Finance, we have Director Carla Espinosa from the Fiscal Policy and Monitoring Office. We have Attorney E.J. Siriban from the Revenue Operations Group. From the Bureau of Customs, we have Attorney Bettina Parado of the Legal Service.
I'm sorry, where are you? If you don't mind, please just raise your right hand very quickly. Thank you. Okay. Yes, please proceed.
Yes, ma'am. From representing the Department of Budget and Management,
Wala sa BIR? Parang wala. Pero kaya na ninyo sagutin yung mga tanong tungkol sa BIR.
they were invited, Madam, but
Dahil may tax exemption to eh. Okay, sige, please. Sunod.
yes, ma'am. From the DBM, we have Assistant Secretary Leonido J. Pulido. We have Chief State Counsel Dennis Arvin L. Chan from the Department of Justice. And then we have the Honorable Secretary Robert E.A. Borge from the Climate Change Commission. Good afternoon, sir. With Commissioner Rachel Ann Herrera. We have from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Undersecretary Annalisa Rebuelta Te for Finance, Information Systems, and Climate Change. We have from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Attorney Windel Z. Samaniego from International Relations and Surveillance Department. And we have additional guests, Madam Chair, for the One China policy. From the Department of Migrant Workers, we have Director Alejandro A. Padaen, Labor Director, Migrant Workers Office of from Taipei. And then from the MECO, the Manila Economic and Cultural Office, we have two representatives, Attorney Joseph Omar Castillo, who is a member of the Board of Directors, and Ms. Charbet Karen Maralit, the Deputy Resident Representative. And for our other stakeholders, Madam Chair, we have Mr. John Leo Algo from the National Coordinator of Action Klima Pilipinas, Mr. Joel Chester Pagulayan, Climate Change Portfolio Manager of the Oxfam Pilipinas, and we have Ms. Lea Guerrero Country Director, Greenpeace Southeast Asia Philippines. That's it for now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Yung iba, yung nakalista dito, Ateneo, Dr. Delocado, David, etc. Wala po to. Yung
They-
taga-UP.
They have not confirmed, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Okay, maraming salamat. We have a very ambitious agenda today, very, very quickly. So you all know we have session at 3 o'clock. So I enjoin you all to keep the presentation short. The first portion has to do with a very quick briefing by the DFA. I urge that an inventory of all international agreements and treaties entered into by the Philippines, bilateral and multilateral, should be listed and provided to this committee. In addition, if I may, in addition to those already completed and ratified, may I also have a list of those that we had voted upon or agreed upon in some international fora or elsewhere overseas, but are still awaiting ratification or are incomplete in their concurrence and hence cannot be sent to the Senate. It appears that, as Senator Lauren Legarda rightly pointed out, that the DFA sometimes takes upwards of 19 years. I think it was the last treaty that we passed. Such a long time to obtain concurrence when in fact they're largely